folks. Welcome to this edition of Voices in Hyperspace. We wanted to do something a little special for everybody because we've been threatening to do this for over a year now, right? So yeah, you get to see what we look like. Yay! For those that are on YouTube and following our stream, we have some visuals. You get to see myself and Mel Asylum. Mel is in full cosplay and is looking amazing. I like your get up. You're got kind of like steampunk slash like some Afrofuturism going on, which that's your aesthetic.
Yep.
And we do have Sunday Present represented by a poker card. It's a queen, the Queen of Hearts. Sunday is here.
Is there a heart in the house tonight?
Yeah. So yeah, we're checking it out. We will be doing some more visual stuff in the future. We thought that this would be a great time for us to experiment and check out our systems, do some diagnostics, and yeah. So here we are. I see that you got your book on display there, Mel.
I do. Stays right here so people can see it in my YouTube videos and whenever I go visual.
Yes. That's pretty awesome. Unrooting the system. I saw that you put out a post thanking your readers, which that's pretty awesome. Thank you, readers.
Yeah. I was really excited. I got double the readers this pay period.
Nice. That's really awesome.
Yep.
Continuing getting bigger and better out there. I like that. So, y'all want to jump into it?
Yeah.
All right. So, this week we are looking at episode 15 of season 4 entitled No Retreat, No Surrender. And this is the episode that we've been building up to for the last, 4 or 5 episodes? As you all know, season 4, episode 6, we saw the end of the Shadow War. And now I guess you could say we've been gearing up for the confrontation between Babylon 5 and Earth. And this is the start of it. My initial view of the episode is, one, I'm going to just say there's a lot of exciting things going on, but for the most part, not a ton of anything. It's just like, hey, we're going to attack Earth, force people. But really what they're doing is they are trying to liberate Proxima III. This is a continuation of the last episode where Earth ships destroyed a ship of refugees, and it was 10,000 civilians on board. And for this episode to come up right now is wild because it is pretty apropos to some world current events. When we get there in the story, we'll talk about it. But
yeah,
for the most part, not a ton happens. Not really. I would say the good writing was all saved for G'Kar and Londo. They had an amazing scene that made this whole episode just go from meh to great, to me anyway. There's a star battle, and that also turns out pretty good too.
I like the build up into the initial meeting with all the non-worlds. And G'Kar's speech was, very much G'Kar. I like seeing him in his element again. Like we've seen him be broken and down for so long, being in prison with the Centauri. So him standing up and making that declaration was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
It's also good to go into what happens later. Like he's honoring what Sheridan wanted him to do.
Yes.
He's standing up, and there was almost like a wink between him and Sheridan when he set up, and he's like, "I'm going to do it so the other people can follow."
Yeah.
And then, what's his name going? Mess everything up.
I thought it was another really great episode. I am very much excited for like the way they are standing up and doing what is right and showing like a rebellion and how people can come together and on multiple sides of a conflict we can appeal to like what's right, like the right thing to do, and not just because a hierarchy says so.
Yeah. We see Sheridan is struggling to express that to some other major characters in the show. And it is I think it's an amazing depiction of a leader taking a principled stance and not just going with the flow, which, I mean, he did in season 3, but now it's coming to a head because it's like, do you stand on the sidelines or do you take these principles and you put them into action, even if it does cost you almost everything? So getting into it, this episode starts off with Sheridan's personal logs, and he's saying enough is enough. And he talks about how it is intolerable for the way that President Clark has dealt with Proxima III. Killing 10,000 civilians is something that they just cannot stand for. During this opening, we see a lot of like military gear going into action. A lot of the Star Furies are gearing up. Some are running tests, and we get to see Lieutenant Carwin. Remember Lieutenant Carwin, our buddy old pal that hangs out on the bridge? He's always front and center when there's a humor-centric story now. Which I like.
Yeah.
Which I like. And he doesn't look so ogurely anymore. He doesn't look like a tall baby. He looks like an adult.
Yeah. They gave him a very dramatic scene of standing on the bridge.
Yeah. They got the White Star Fleet assembling. They take the war room back, so it's no longer being strictly used for the voice of the resistance. They are going back in there, getting ready for war, so they're gearing up. And then Sheridan calls for an emergency meeting with the ambassadors of the non-aligned worlds. And he takes them and he sits them down, and he's like, okay, now that y'all have all, joined the forces with us, the White Stars have been on your borders. They've been blocking incidents. Ivanova says, like, since they've been on the border, incidents have gone down 70%. And Sheridan goes, now there's a price. He's like, we did good for you. Now it's time for you to do something for me. And basically, each of them are going to offer like a destroyer for Babylon 5 defense. They're going to be on Babylon 5's side. When it comes to Earth, they're not going to interfere with anything. Like, if Earth is asking for aid, y'all don't do nothing. Y'all hang out and y'all wait for us. What he said was he knows that they all have treaties with Earth, and he voids all of them. And he declares they're going to do an offensive against Clark for his atrocities. And the non-aligned worlds are not supposed to interfere. They might be able to help with aid, but they're not going to fight or obstruct anything, because Babylon 5 is like, we got to go in there and we got to be serious. So we got this gear up and this call for action. Like, okay, now it's time for us to actually put our money where our mouth is, and seeing as how we got all of y'all in one room and finally agreeing, we're going to work together. And G'Kar jumps up and he's the one that says, I agree. He's like, when my people were in trouble, where was Earth? And when we were fighting the shadows, where was Earth? And it's kind of like they were able to greatly weave in an anti-Earth rhetoric or story without being like anti-human. And
right.
And I thought that was really a great way for them to write this, because they're not going against humans as a species. They're going against Earth as a government. And that's what's very important about this whole part of this saga. They are opposing governments regardless of what the species are doing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, his G'Kar's little speech was very much about Earth actions.
Yep. And with G'Kar, with his prominent position, him offering his support is pretty lofty. Looking at all of the other aliens in the room, it was pretty great because, they got on heavy makeup and they're acting with their faces. And this is the first time that I thought, like, this kind of works. This actually works. Especially with the Drazi, because they have so much makeup on. There's like no facial expressions, but everything looked pretty good. So Marcus is on his way to the bridge. Apparently he was headed back to Babylon 5, like, under urgency. He's just running in there, his hair flopping around, and Sheridan's like, is he here yet? And he's like, yeah, I'm here. I would have gotten this here faster if I could have just sent it along, there's information that he has on a data crystal, and they didn't want it to get intercepted, so he had to bring it personally, which I think that's pretty interesting. And what the information is the ships that are involved in the blockade of Proxima III. Can we talk about blockades for a second?
Yeah.
So they have some pretty heavy cruisers blocking Proxima 3. The refugees from Proxima 3 can't leave. Aid can't get to Proxima 3. And what we learn is the people are starving. The idea from Clark is we're going to starve the people into compliance because he's supposed to have martial law on all of the human colonies. And Proxima 3, they have their own resistance, which Babylon 5 supports. And this does become important because later on they're involved in the battle. They have 6 Omega class destroyers. The Heracles, the Pollux. They're saying the Heracles and the Pollux were specifically involved with shooting down the civilians trying to escape. And Sheridan's trying to get like an idea, like, okay, so what's the mentality of the people of these different ships? Are there any ships that are avoiding conflict, trying not to shoot and fire? This is kind of helping him put together his plan for the way he's going to engage. And actually, I think what he does is pretty smart. He proposes a multi-wave assault, and we'll see a little bit of that later. While they're having this discussion and planning, Sheridan asks Franklin, like, hey, what's going on with those telepaths? And they're just thinking about all of their assets and putting them in place. But there's 2 things going on here that does bother me. Of course, Earth is blockading, preventing food. They're starving a whole colony. And they don't say how many people are on the colony, but if 10,000 people tried to leave and they murdered them, so like, what's the numbers now?
Oh, yeah. That's a lot of people.
It kind of reminds me of current conflicts. They talk about, well, this not only happened in Gaza, but also happened in Yemen and other places where the U.S. is involved, where aid is being flown in or trucked in, but then is being blocked from people. It's either being destroyed or they just not letting people take it in. And the idea is they want to cause as much suffering as possible to subjugate the people. And this is happening with Proxima. Earth is trying to punish the Proxima resistance. Even though not everybody's part of the resistance, they're just like, starve them all. We'll figure it out. And yeah, we see that in real life.
And they've done that in past wars too, where like in 2, they would cut off train routes for food and supplies.
Yep. The thing about it though, the way that this show is depicting it is keeping it kind of like very mild, very PG. But in real life, there are people who are so starved that they're emaciated. We've always seen kind of like those charity commercials where we see babies that have distended bellies and they're skeletal, and that's because they've been starved. And people don't think about the inglorious parts of war, which, like, yeah, people get blown up, but the rest of it is famine and disease. This is all left in the wake. Even if the quote unquote the good guys win, people are dying because there's no clean food, no clean water, no services. And I'm harping on this because, like, we are in the middle of that right now. And maybe this will help open the eyes of some people, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, you say that, and I'm like, this came out in the 90s, so 30 years ago. How many situations we had since the same thing is that, like, it just keeps repeating. Like,
speaking of the 90s, there are some things. So, Deep Space Nine. I am so interested in the Bell riots. Maybe we'll do a side mission to talk about that. Okay. they're getting all of that together. There's a question about like what happens with the ships that are in the blockade. Sheridan is going to give them a chance to surrender, join the resistance, or they're going to take them out. And that's a pretty stern statement. It's like they have one objective, which is total victory. So you're either going to join us or we're going to shoot you. We get a brief scene with Garibaldi. For whatever reason, he is going to Londo's quarters. He wakes Veer up. And Veer, for whatever reason, is ready to spill his guts to Garibaldi. This was such a weird scene to me. I get what they were trying to accomplish. It just was so clumsily done. Because Veer, who had a ton of character growth, he built his confidence and his courage. Now he's like season 1 Veer, where he's just like scared of everything. He wakes up, it's like, I didn't do it. It's like, bro, what are you talking about? Like, we're several seasons past whatever this is you're dreaming about. And
he's got a lot of baggage from the growth that he's had. And not to mention, he just helped assassinate the ruler of his planet. But like, even when in real life, when you have that mental growth and heal from your trauma, there can still be remnants of that trauma, especially in your subconscious. And if he's dreaming, then the things in his subconscious are really what's coming up right now, especially if he's drunk. And they made it clear he's drunk, he's tired because they woke him up super early to have that meeting. Yeah.
okay.
But I don't know if that was supposed to be like showing more of the character and where he's still growing, or if that was just an artful way of showing that he's drunk and tired.
Yeah, that's true. Because when Garibaldi was asking about it, he's like, why are you so jumpy? What's going on? He's like, oh, we were woke up super early because of the session. And Garibaldi's like, what session? Oh, we're about to attack your world. Like, you didn't know? And Garibaldi's like, no, I didn't know. He's like, oh, well, are you going to join back up with her, with Babylon 5? He's like, nope, not I. Because, Garibaldi's still he's a brainwashed jerk. And then the other thing that Veer, like, let go of, he's like, I was looking for Londo. Where is he at? He's like, oh, Londo had a meeting with and he stops himself. And he goes, he has a meeting. So, as the audience and Garibaldi, everybody knows now that Londo is trying to get in touch with G'Kar. Great. His assistant spilled the beans. His assistant just told all of the secrets. I think it was a pretty clumsy scene. I think it could have been done better if we saw Garibaldi using his detective work that he's supposed to be known for, of finding that out.
What he's supposed to like be indifferent and not care. He's like, I don't want to know what Sheridan is doing because I'm leaving.
Yeah, right. Well,
now he suddenly has this information, even though he wasn't looking for it. He was looking to leave. But yeah, it would have been better within his character in order to actually be. But at this point, I don't think he cares to be Snoop.
Yeah. And really quickly, we see that Babylon 5 is on high alert. The Star Furies are flying around. They're doing their flybys. Ivanova's, barking out orders on what everybody should be doing. She says she doesn't want anybody out there with less than half a tank of gas, all of that. And they were, they're getting ready for their mission. Their orders are to trust Ivanova, trust yourself, shoot her, and then anybody else shoot them. And the reason why is Ivanova shared this little tidbit that I thought was cool. It's a little world building lore. So they have their voices on file with Earth Force, and Earth Force could like use them to copy them and to send false orders, which I'm thinking like, oh, AI. They could fall for deep fakes. Okay. That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
That was
Imagine
very, awesome to experience, to know like when this show first came out, that's not something that was like really that possible then. And now it's just like, you can't trust hardly anything that you hear or see. I mean, unless you were kind of there. And to see that this show was so far ahead, or maybe we are copying art into reality. I don't know. I don't like cell phones and stuff do. It was just super cool, but also scary, and all the things all at the same time. Everything all at once.
Yeah, Star Trek gets a lot of credit for inventing things before they happen. And Babylon 5 kind of got one this time. They redeemed themselves from having paper.
Yeah. So we get a quick look at what's going on with the war. They're sending, I like this. So Sheridan wants to send some, what do they call, Star Furies and some White Stars to Earth and Mars. And the idea is to draw forces away from Proxima III. So then the real forces can go to Proxima III, surround all of their forces there and liberate it. Pretty clever. Pretty awesome. And they already have on their side that the anti-alien propaganda is causing a hysteria at home. So pretty much anything that Babylon 5 does in mass is going to like rile people up. So bravo. This is actually showing Sheridan is a very competent tactician. And he knows what he's doing. He's not just in a suicide mission again, which great. Thank you. Thank you. The main forces are gathering in hyperspace. Marcus is leading one of his White Stars. He communicates with the Proxima Resistance, and they get information on which of the destroyers decided to hold back on their aggression. The meat of this episode, I think, is this next scene, which is Londo visiting G'Kar. So, hey, Sunday, how's it going?
Hey.
So you were out on your away mission during the redemption arc of Londo Mollari when he helped.
Fantastic, because I was dreading that happening the whole 3 or 4 seasons that I've been watching.
Yep. But here's the great thing. This scene shows that he absolutely has to face consequences. And the consequences are him dealing with his own guilt. He walks into the quarters of G'Kar. G'Kar is like, fine, you're here. Because remember, earlier this season, G'Kar was like, we're done with each other. I don't even want you to breathe in my direction, right? And so Londo, being the brazen character that he is, he walks right into G'Kar's quarters, and he is trying to figure out a way to end the animosity between them, which, let's be realistic, because of Londo, the Narn people were colonized again. Their forces were destroyed. G'Kar was imprisoned. He was beaten and lost his eye. He was used. He was manipulated. He was betrayed. All of that for Londo to just come to his senses, be like, oh, the shadows are the bad guys. Okay, let's kill those guys. So G'Kar is pissed off at this guy. And it's like, despite of him acknowledging what G'Kar went through, Londo just can't help himself. He says, this wasn't a walk in the park for me, or walk on the beach for me. And it's like, bro, what do you even mean? Like, were you beaten? Were you in prison? He's taking G'Kar's suffering and then also being like, yeah, me too. We're not so different, you and I. Yeah.
It's a very narcissistic way of, I'm going to torture you and get the way that I want to get what I want, whether or not it hurts you. And then when I do the one thing that was right, you're supposed to forgive me for everything. Like, you should only pay attention to that one thing, because I don't want to pay attention to all the horrible things that I did to you and anybody else.
Right.
Just no awareness.
None.
And even though he did suffer, he was a little bit, like, mentally he suffered, figuring out that he was causing a lot of the problems. So he was going to destroy his own planet. When he saw the planet being bombed, he was like, "What did I do?" But it's not as much suffering as the Narns went through. And
Right.
he has absolutely no reason to be okay with you. Like, Jakar's doing the right thing. I don't want to have anything to do with you. I'm good. And he has every right to do that.
Right. Right. Londo says, I made poor choices. Bro started the war, not just a war. He started the conflict between the Narn and the Centauri. He started the Shadow War. Uh, he pretty much got the Narn completely defeated, and he almost got his own planet exploded. Yeah, let's just say yes, he's made a couple of poor decisions in his life.
And he's not being demoted to citizenship. He's still holding his position.
Mm-hmm.
So the way I feel about it is good on you, G'Kar, for being a petty Betty and not opening the door on the first ring. I could already see the tone and direction that this conversation was going in, that he wasn't fucking with him. And you come in here disrespecting my room, talking shit about the aesthetic and what it looks like and how depressing it is. And he had to clap back talking about he apologizes for the cleaning crew removing the chains from the space. So once Londo continues to, talk his shit, then you go and pour my fucking alcohol. How dare you? Ask permission. You still walking around like you run shit and you can just do whatever.
Right.
So it was mad frustrating just having Londo even in the presence of G'Kar at all for me. And then for him to give that sorry ass oppression Olympics attempt at empathy when you are really just not really understanding or even trying to understand where G'Kar is coming from, but just that, you've had a rainy day too. Okay? How about that? Like, my eye, nigga. My eye. And you don't even have like a hair out of place.
Nope.
I still need him to like suffer. Wow. Or just experience like some loss of some kind. Like he hasn't had a demotion or nothing. Ugh. And whatever guilt you're experiencing, like, go get a counselor. Don't talk to me about that shit because I don't give a fuck. So when he got to the end and he's explaining, like, why he thinks that their two races should come together to help the other alliances see that if, like, we were fighting and we can decide to get together for the greater good of the coming causes, which is a good position that I wish his second hand person had been delivering the message, it might have went over a little bit better for me. But
G'Kar would have strangled Veer. G'Kar would have strangled Veer. Veer knows better.
Oh my god.
Veer actually has like remorse for the things that his people does. He's not even in on it. He's just one of them, and he's like, "Oh my god, this is my people."
Yeah. Yeah.
I know. That's why I think the message would be better delivered by him. So anyway, when G'Kar poured that drink and he was making good points on why they should do what his plan was to do, and he offered him a toast, I just yelled at the TV, "Don't drink it." Like, no, I don't trust you, sir. And I just don't. And I was so thankful that he didn't. He poured that drink out and was like, "Get the fuck out of my room, bro." I clapped and cheered and yelled for an encore.
And like I said earlier, G'Kar was doing that for Sheridan. Like he was already helping the cause by doing what he did, and then his butt come in and like, but we should be doing this. Like, no, if he sees if Earth sees the aliens coming in to help them attack Earth, the the people who are xenophobic are going to be proven right. He's just causing more issues.
Yep. And then he leaves the room. And then he leaves the room pouting because he didn't make a friend. We've seen this the whole season with Londo. He only has one friend. His one friend is Garibaldi. Garibaldi is a horrible human being, and he's brainwashed right now. And he stumps out, leaving, pouting. We switched back to Sheridan. He's briefing the Fury pilots about the mission and how to engage the fellow humans. And his whole thing is like, okay, we tried to tell them, but they pushed us to where we have no choice. Only fire on people who are firing on you, but you are trained in war, and in war, you're supposed to kill everything you see that's trying to kill you when you come home. So, we're going to do that. So don't feel bad about murdering other humans, because that's what you got. You got to do what you got to do. And then they lead the fleet into hyperspace. They put on the White Stars the Babylon 5 logo. And the idea is, not only do we need you to know that you're being attacked by superior firepower, but it's Babylon 5 specifically doing it. So some intimidation tactics. We see Marcus, he's switched into another White Star. When he gets to Proxima, Sheridan executes the battle plan. They send the first fleet of White Stars down to the planet. The Heracles with Captain Trevor Hall, which this guy sounds so weird. He has to be a voice actor or something. His voice is very cartoony, I don't know.
Was that the one giving the commands?
Yeah, the one that was yelling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When I saw that as a kid, I recognized him from kids shows.
Okay, because that's what it sounds like to me.
And the other captain was in some kids movie or something. And so when I see this, I want to take it seriously, but at the same time, I'm thinking like Disney type goofy thing where.
I guess I can pinpoint a voice actor. They have very distinguished voices. Captain Hall, he sends the Pollux and the Nemesis to investigate, so they're going to the side of the planet that the White Stars jump to. And then Sheridan proceeds and he jumps in the second squadron of White Stars. And basically, they have those forces surrounded. They have them surrounded on two sides. Hall prepares for battle and tries to get the whole fleet involved. But he's telling them, like, no, don't turn around. Keep forward, because we're gonna push forward because we don't want to be surrounded by enemies and running away from them on two sides. We need somebody in front of us. One of the other captains, Captain McDougan of the Vesta, attempts to convince Sheridan to withdraw. I think that is the black actor, and we've seen him in a couple of things. But the way, like, he interrupts the kind of like the comms by saying, like, Sheridan, boy, what you doing out here? You ain't supposed to be out here. Boy, you ain't supposed to be out here. He doesn't talk like that, y'all. It's just they are familiar with each other, and apparently McDougan taught Sheridan at the academy, and they were discussing ethical concerns in battle, and Sheridan was reminding him, like, hey, well, what do you do when you are given an illegal order? And Mackie was like, you don't follow it. And then while that's going on, Captain Hall is like, man, y'all shut up. Y'all need to fire on the people.
Before you keep going, love, at the point where like the information was coming in about what starships were involved,
Mm-hmm.
and he was getting the names of the captains, I saw a moment where Sheridan recognized one of the names.
Yeah.
But then later, somebody asked him, you got any history with any of them? And he said no. And it was a little confusing to me. And I'm just like, I just recognized you recognizing somebody. And then when they get to this point, he's like, yeah, you taught me. And so I'm like, okay, I guess though he may not have any military or battle experience with or against him, he recalls him from when he was in training.
Yeah.
So that kind of brought those pieces together for me.
Yeah.
No, but he's familiar with him.
Yeah. So Hall orders the Heracles to open fire, and they are initiating the Battle of Proxima III, which this should have been a little bit bigger of a deal in the season, but we'll deal with it. I mean, they settled a whole civil war off screen, so I guess we can deal with like 3 or 4 ships showing up. Also, look, I know I'm complaining, but this is in jest because they don't have the budget to have a large scale space battle, not like they did earlier in the season. So, let's just roll with it.
They have to stretch their budget because they have much longer seasons than we do now.
Yeah,
in TV shows.
Yeah, and special effects, especially CGI, was still developing. It had been around for about 20 years by then, but it still was like a big challenge,
Yeah, it looked like Xbox.
Yeah. It's not terrible. You just, you don't put that in a movie.
Right. Well, I mean, that's the best they had then. So
Yeah.
I don't know, because I went back and watched like The Incredible Hulk.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah, compared to like getting spoiled with the Marvel that we have now, and yeah.
Yep. So during this battle, Sheridan's forces, they're targeting the Heracles and the Pollux because those are the 2 ships that have been more active while the other ships were just hanging back and watching. They're like, hey, we don't really have to fire. So yeah. So they send all the Furies and the White Stars at the Heracles and the Pollux. The other ships are choosing not to fight. McDougal refuses to fire. Hall orders him to, he's like, look, you better join in this battle. And he's like, I don't think I want to do that. And so Hall is like, okay, your first officer is going to relieve you of duty. And bro pulls a gun out and tries to do it. But,
he doesn't even wait for the command. He just pulls a gun at his head. Like, I'm taking your command.
It's like
he
chance.
planted. Yeah.
The crew, what is it? They subdue that first officer and they don't allow him to assume command. So McDougal's ship is out of commission. A White Star crashes into and destroys the Pollux, or it crashes into the Pollux. The White Star is destroyed, and Sheridan has a moment like, okay, the Pollux is disabled. The crew just needs to get to the escape pods and they'll be okay. But no, the Pollux reactor goes into meltdown and it explodes, and yeah, all those people on that ship are dead. Lots of human casualties for the Battle of Proxima. While this is going on, the Nemesis surrenders after taking heavy damage. It's like, okay, we're done. The Heracles remain, and Hall is like, okay, we're gonna fight until the bitter end. But then his first commander, Sandra Levitt, is like, Hall, you are relieved of command. And we're stopping this. And he's like, I can't believe this. You can't do this to me. And he looks around and the rest of the crew is like, no, we kind of agree. Y'all, we need to stop doing this. So with that, they end the Battle of Proxima III. Proxima III is liberated from this blockade and the resistance has won, along with Sheridan's help. And okay, yeah, we have a great moment of triumph. What Sheridan does is, instead of trying to celebrate that moment, he's like, no, we're going to meet with all these captains because we got some things that we need to talk about. Is that also there's been way too many people to die on both sides for this just to be it. So he meets with Captain McDougal, Eklund, Kawagawa, and Levitt to discuss what they're going to do. Are they going to withdraw from the battle, from the area? Are they going to defend Proxima, or are they going to join him? Which, I mean, that's kind of a really big deal because them getting those Earth destroyers is going to give them a lot of great firepower. And this is where he gets into kind of like the more principled purposes of Babylon 5 and opposing President Clark. Because Levitt is like, look, captains don't create policy. We enforce rules. We stand up for Earth. Sheridan says, I am standing up for Earth. I took an oath to protect Earth from its enemies, foreign and domestic. Clark is an enemy of Earth, and we got to take him down. And yeah, and they have a discussion about what he's doing with it. You know, they got Night Watch, they got Psychor, they got the Ministry of, I was gonna say the Ministry of Darkness.
Ministry of Magic.
So we're over here thinking of completely different franchises. The Ministry of Peace. So he's turning Earth Force into a military dictatorship, and that's intolerable. And so the captains, they request some time to talk privately what they're gonna do. On Babylon 5, remember our good old buddy, old pal G'Kar and Londo talking. G'Kar joins Londo at the bar. He sits out a little shot glass. He fills it with the liquor that he poured back in there, and he takes a drink. Londo looks like he
went and had that drink tested to make sure it didn't have nothing in it. So he like, all right, I guess I can drink this now.
But this is G'Kar signifying he spent some time thinking about it, and that it would be far more beneficial for him and Mollari to join together to show that they are supporting the resistance, the Narn and the Centauri, and it would help embolden the other alien species to join. And he said, "I will sign your treaty. I will sign your statement of support, but not on the same page."
Any way possible.
He said, "Not on the same page." So
go, Petty Pendergrass.
He's like, "I don't like you. I don't like the way you smell. I don't like the way you walk, the way you talk. Look at your stupid hair. Look at your stupid jacket. I don't like them shoes. All of that."
Do you understand? Love it.
So we get back to the ships, and McDougal reports that he reports to Sheridan with the captains, the different captains' decisions. Levitt will take the Heracles to Beta 9 for repairs. So that was coming off the board. They said she is retiring from the field. The Captain Hall, he is under house arrest until the whole conflict is over. So they just keep him in his quarters. Eklund will remain at Proxima 3 with the Furies. So Eklund is defending Proxima 3, and Kawagawa and McDougal are joining Sheridan in Babylon 5. So he has 2 Earth battle cruisers, which is a huge boost in their military firepower. There you go. Yes. And we get Ivanova is back on Voice of the Resistance, and she's like, "We have successfully liberated Proxima 3." And this is like a rallying cry to other Earth Force ships to defect and to confirm the joint effort of the Centauri and the Narn in their support statement, and that the rest of the Earth colonies have hope to be liberated. While that's going on, Garibaldi is walking through the docking bay, and he is meeting with an extremely bored security officer. This dude looked like he couldn't bother to deal with Garibaldi. He's like, "Where are you going?" He's like, "I'm going to Mars." "How long are you going to be gone? When are you coming back?" He's like, "I might never come back." He's like, "All right, bro, whatever." But we get the idea, or we get the sentiment, that Garibaldi is leaving Babylon 5 forever. And just kind of thinking about the way Garibaldi has performed thus far, that might actually be a good thing. That might actually be a positive thing for Babylon 5. So, and then the show ends. So
I think that kind of opens up him to be on the other side when liberate the Mars. It also could just be a trap, because they're calling him over and they're the ones calling the shots, and they're also sending the signals that activate whatever programming they got in him.
yeah.
So yeah, he's just volunteering to go off to his doom. Well, not really volunteering because he's brainwashed, but yeah.
Yeah. I guess you could say that it is getting a little hot for Psychor, because if Babylon 5 is going to be very active with their military, it's like, yeah, we don't want to send Omega 9 or whatever they are over there. We don't want to send Bester because he's probably going to get shot. Maybe it's a little safer to bring Garibaldi to us, which they've already set it up with that billionaire on Mars that hired him last episode. So he has a good reason to get off of Babylon 5. And also, like, Sheridan, he's thoroughly irritated Sheridan. So yeah, it's time to get scarce. So, do y'all have any predictions for the next couple of episodes? Which this is episode, hold on, what did I say, 16?
15?
This is episode 15. So I think we got like 10, no, not 10 episodes. We have just a couple of episodes left.
Like 7? There's 22 episodes. So
22 episodes. 7. Yeah, we have about 7 left. So, yeah, it was 15. Yeah, we have like 6 to go. So,
okay.
Which this is kind of a wild way that they have this split up, because 1 through 6 has been the Shadow War, and then 7 through 15 is kind of the start of the Earth Babylon 5 conflict. And so now we just got like the conclusion of that. So they actually kind of split this up into 3s for this season, which is okay.
Yeah,
I think
that's a normal way of writing a story. George Lucas does it in Star Wars. It's 3 parts within 3 parts. And it is a good way to do a storyboard, especially since they had to close up what happened last season. And they used it in order to go into this. And now we're building up to whatever the final is going to be. So this not being such a huge battle is, like, it's not the war. It's just a battle.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. Like, we're just saving some colonists. It's not the big battle against the big boss. This was just like a mission, kind of. If I'm playing it in video game terms.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a mission to show how capable Babylon 5 is. It's not as hopeless as them trying to go up against the Shadows, because the Shadows were almost an invincible force until they got the White Stars. And plus all the help from the first ones and other aliens. But now it's like, okay, we got all this firepower now. They probably could invade Earth and just take it over, but they're trying to go about it in a principled manner. It's like, hey, come, like, believe in reason. Come, think about this. We don't want to murder you, but President Clark might force us to. So,
And like giving them a safe space to do what they know is right, and to actually think about what they know is right, because they're being ruled by fear, and you don't think very well when you're scared.
Yeah, true. So I guess we could look at where we are. It really makes me wish that a lot of the stuff that's popping up in this season had been a little bit further developed in previous seasons, because I know what happens in season 5. And honestly, I wish the whole thing would have ended in season 4. A nice little bow on it. But what do I know? I don't write TV. I just watch it. And I enjoy watching Babylon 5. I think I'll pick this up every 5 years. I'll watch the whole series beginning to end, and I just love it. So as much as I'm like, oh, I wish I could have did this, I wish you could have did that, I love that.
That makes for good, like, fan scripts, like a fan fiction for it. And it's good practice, because if you can take something that's already established and work on where you could go with it, what can be done with it, how things could do better, then you have that established in your mind for writing your own stories. Kind of like visual artists practicing the styles of their favorite artists. You don't post it and make money off of it or anything, but you can practice it in order to learn from their style. And writing a fanfic of Babylon 5 or anything is like a practice of that style. And then when you go to write your stuff, you take what you learn from it. So it's not like you're never going to change Babylon 5. Is there? We can't change the history. Like it is what it is. But
Yeah.
we can do things to learn from it and make things better, even though they're already great.
Yeah, true. So I think we should get on out of here. Any last words, Sunday? She's probably already playing poker.
Thank you guys so much for sharing such a wonderful series with me. I've really been enjoying it and getting to see Londo grovel, even though, you know, he hasn't suffered as much as I would like. It was great.
Yeah. So, all right, we'll get on out of here. Thank y'all for joining us for this edition of Voices in Hyperspace. You can follow us on any of your favorite streaming platforms. We're on Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music, and a whole bunch of others. It's great. You can also catch us on our Facebook page. Be sure to like, share, and follow. Join us and continue the discussion. Oh yeah, we're on YouTube, which that's where this video is going to end up going. So for those of you who are only listening, check out our YouTube. Like, follow, share that. I'm Legendary Black Lion. You can find me on Instagram at Legendary Black Lion. And I'm slowly trying to dip my feet back into social media stuff, but you know, it takes some time.
I'm Mel Asylum. You can find me at melsrebellion.com, where there are links to all my social medias and YouTube, and links to find my book, Unrooting System.
Thank you guys so much. This is Sunday. You can find me at a poker table.
All right, until next time, we'll see you out there. Peace.